Hey guys, welcome back to another Cultured Boys discussion. I'm Pepe, and as always, I'm joined by Nathan. And today we're talking about Tokyo Revengers. Hey! So, bit of backstory here. I watched this like a couple years ago, like from season 1. But this is Nathan's first time watching this at all. And you have watched the anime, I assume, and not read the manga. That's a thing that, yeah, sweet. That's another thing we need to get into as well, because obviously we have also read a series by this author's previous works, which was well, not even previous works. This is newer work.
Latest work.
This is latest work. Yeah, it's a weird one, like actually going backwards from that a bit. But yeah, Astro Royale is created by the same author. But yeah, we can get into that a bit later. How are you, Nate?
I'm doing pretty good, mate. Pretty good. How are you doing?
Yeah, you know, standard. It's, as I said, it's been a while since I actually watched the first season of Tokyo Revengers as well. Especially since I only caught up on the second, and I'm in the middle of the third series recently. So I was like, I know the premise of this, but obviously, like a lot goes down in 3 seasons of an anime, especially this one. But before we get any further into Tokyo Revengers, do you want to give a rundown of what it is, Nate?
Yep, sure. So, Tokyo Revengers, created by Ken Wakui, published in Weekly Shonen Magazine from March 1st, 2017 to November 16th, 2022. 31 volumes completed. Produced by Leiden Films, don't really know how to pronounce that. Originally aired from April 11th, 2021, all the way to December 26th, 2023. So that's season 1 to 3. I was, during my research, looking, and it's like weird because it's like season 1's on Crunchyroll, apparently. And that was for worldwide, and then Disney picked it up, so now it's on like Disney
we'll
Plus
get into that
and stuff, and Hulu. Takemichi Hanagaki lives an unsatisfying life right up until his death, waking up 12 years in the past. He reckons with the eventual fate of his friends and tries to prevent an unfortunate future. Thank you, IMDb.
IMDb, that's an interesting one. Anyway, yes, Tokyo Revengers, a series that, like, I remember when I watched the first season, I was like, "Whoa, this is insane!" But before we get into, how much have you watched, Nate?
7 episodes.
You watched 7 episodes. Okay, can you tell me? Okay, again, I guess spoilers for those who haven't started the series, but can you tell me whereabouts you're at in that season?
So, he's trying to prevent the fight between the Tokyo Manji and Mobius, and dude is just rocked. The Mobius guy is just rocked up with a bunch of peeps to their like little hideout, and he's now Takemichi's like, oh, I gotta prevent Draken from dying because Draken's Kenny's heart.
Yeah, this is Draken.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's it so far.
Right, yeah. That's the one thing you'll find a lot with this series as well. It's a lot of back and forth where Takemichi goes in between his older self and his newer self. He's like, "Oh, I've done this. Is everything good now?" And it's like, "Nope, you gotta go back." that's a little
Takemichi. We gotta go back.
Yeah, it's literally that, like for like a good, like for the whole run, basically. It's one of those things that's like very much a butterfly effect kind of series,
which is hilarious because like everything he does is the butterfly effect. Like, I don't know why they seem to think that you could just go back and then like change a thing, fix a thing, and it's not gonna happen. Like, it's just gonna be like, oh, cool, all done now. Like,
yeah,
no.
And it's goes back and it's like, wait, now this person's dead.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's like
oh,
this person. Oh no,
I stopped this person from doing a thing, and that person's sad fate, and it's like, then how do you think that's gonna work out?
Yeah, it's it's a lot going on there. So you've met Mikey as well, right? So you've met Mikey. You met
Yeah. I've met the two of them, and then I've met all of Takemichi's like group of friends.
Oh, yeah,
Obviously Hinata and Naoto. and a couple of other people, but I don't remember their names.
Yeah, they kind of like I assume like you've met like the kind of heads of the gangs in the Tokyo Manji group, right? Have you seen
Some of
like those
them I've
guys yet?
seen. I've
Some, yeah.
seen a couple of the other guys who are like
Yeah.
quite high up.
Mhm.
But that's it. I don't
It's
remember their names.
it's one of those ones like I think once the story really kicks in with them, you'll get to know them a lot better with it. Because that's one thing. Obviously, it affects certain characters. Like a character will come along, and then they'd be like, "Oh, this guy." Like this guy gets introduced. It's like, oh, okay, it's just a random guy, and then you go back and you're like, oh shit, this guy's a big deal.
Mm.
So like, yeah, so like everything ties into each other with that. So some people that get introduced as like who you think are smaller characters are actually like, oh crap, they're like massive into it. Like,
Well, I mean, like it's also I kind of already had that because I was like, I mean, obviously his group of friends probably are gonna play a bigger part at some point, right? But like, it was the fact that he like went back, he did a thing, then he came back, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, this person." He's like, "What? That's my friend." And he's like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay, your friend." And then I'm like, "Oh, okay, so he does play a bigger part, somewhat."
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't expecting that either. To be like, "Oh, hey man, I've been waiting for you for ages. Let's go talk outside real quick, just you and me." He's like, "You can go back in time, right? Right? You got to save everybody." And then it's just like, "Whoa, that was I wasn't expecting that bit." The bit that follows, we can't actually because like
Yeah.
YouTube rules and things. But
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lot of stuff that goes on in that. Again, you have to like there's certain bits that are kind of like I know a few things that happened in that first series. But again, it's been a couple years. So like and Takamichi goes back and forth so
oh
much
yeah,
that you're like I kind of like I remember a lot of like the whole setup of Takamichi joining the Tokyo Manji gang. It's a lot of there's there's a lot of stuff I remember in the latter half of season one compared to the first one because it obviously
mm,
gets bigger and bigger.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It snowballs a lot, which is basically describing this whole city. Even where I'm at in like partway through season three, it's like it's snowball, and it's like oh geez, like considering where this came from. I remember watching. It is always the case going from a from a first season, first episode to seeing where it comes up to
yeah.
it's always like, "Whoa, that's a lot's changed here." Especially in a series like this where it's very supernatural.
Well, I mean, like it's also it's shonen, so like it's got to keep building, in it. Like it can't just like sit still and just kind of end up being like, oh yeah, he puts out a few minor fires in the past, and then he's all good, and everything is all
Yeah.
hunky dory in the Tokyo Manji and whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. You warned me, well, warned, quote unquote,
Mhm.
when we were talking about Astro Royale, about Tokyo Revengers. And you're like, oh yeah, okay. I see this author has a theme. You were saying because it's like gangs
Yeah,
and some
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
supernatural, and I was like, okay. And you're like,
Yeah.
at the time, you were like, look, I'm gonna explain this poorly, so you should just go and experience it. And now that I have, I'm like, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely get it because just some supernatural shit happens, and now he travels back in time. But like, I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, you
Yeah.
hear Tokyo Revengers, and I'm like, okay, they're clearly delinquents on the cover art. So I'm like, it's got something to do with gangs. Pepe told me that already, but like, I got no idea what this could be about. I mean, like Revengers, I was like, okay, there's gonna be some fighting
It's
in
it's
it.
it's the loosest thing. Yeah, if you try and just guess it from the title. Like I remember like when it first launched in 2021, I remember loads of people going crazy over it. And I was like, what like everyone's going crazy over this thing. It's nuts. And then like I think a couple like half a year passes or a bit longer. And I'm like, people going crazy over this series a while back. The hype's died down a bit. Let me see what this is about. Like all the
Mm.
episodes are out. Let me watch it. And then I watched it. I was like, yo, okay. Okay, I get why people are hyping this. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
could get, and it's got that perfect balance of like a supernatural but meets the delinquents thing. It's like it's got that
Mm,
perfect balance there, where obviously this guy's doing this for a cause, and like, but it's still delinquents. It's still like your kind of like
to be
oh, it gives
fair,
that kind of yeah. Go
if you didn't know they were delinquents from the first episode, I don't know what you were on, because like they
on.
literally like, okay, half of it is him like exposition. He's got bad life. Like things have happened. His life's not turned out the way he wants. But as soon as he goes back in time, they're just straight up like, "Yeah, we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight. We cleared it with
Yeah.
we cleared it with the big boss, and we're gonna fight." And I'm like, if you don't know it's about delinquents from that point, I don't know what you're on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I was like, yeah, it's one of those ones where I kind of just like enjoy the balance of it. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
it has like where, like when you get a series about delinquents, you think, oh yeah, it's like hard boiled kind of shit. It's like, oh
yeah,
yeah, I fight because of my feelings, or like, I fight to defend my honor. And you got that. You've got like a level of that in this series, but the supernatural stuff that comes into it, and the level of betrayal and mystery as well. That's what features into the series. That's what really gets you hooked, I feel. Like,
mm.
it's not just a series about delinquents. It's like there's a whole other level to it, which is
It's
really enjoyable, I
funny.
feel.
I care more about the other characters than I care about Takamichi. Like, he's the pro tag and he's got the powers,
Mhm.
and he's doing it all for his first and only ever girlfriend, Hinata, right? But whenever he does something, or he has to go back into the past to do a thing, I'm like, it's really tied to the other characters. Like, the cast of characters is what I really care about. Like,
Yeah.
when he first comes in, like Mikey and Draken, I'm like, okay, whatever. They're just like the big dogs, whatever. Like, especially Draken, I was like, I got nothing from him. And now I'm like, the last episode I was watching, like, he's trying to figure out what caused the fight between Mikey and Draken, because that's what happened in the future before he goes and fucks with it. And it turns out, Draken, or Kenny, is like the heart.
Mhm.
He's the heart and the brains. Mikey is like the face and the authority. He's like the leader, but Mikey's just a hothead.
Mhm.
And that it was that kind of right. And I was like, this is why I care for why I should care that Draken's gonna die, because I'm like,
Yeah.
he's actually a solid. He might look a certain way, pretty gangster. He's got shaved head and he's got the tattoo and whatever. He's a big dude, but like, he's got brains and heart. Especially in that
Mhm.
hospital scene where like that girl's dad's going off at him, like, "Oh, what are you two doing here? Just a bunch of fucking wasted space gangsters. Don't you show your fucking face here? It's your fault." And Mikey's like about to like kick off and be like, "The fuck you talking about, bro?" Like, Draken, Kenny, what you doing? Why you bowing your head? And he's just like, "Shut up, Mikey. You keep your mouth shut. We can't get civilians involved. Like, we got to
I
be
think
better
like
about this kind of shit." Like,
that's one thing that's so good about those two characters as well. Like they like Mikey and Draken, like they've like immediately when you see them, you can see they have that connection there.
mm,
And it's not just like oh a gang leader and his vice captain. This is like these two guys that like trust each other.
they're kind of like
And that's
brothers.
yeah, and when you get that, and when you obviously hear that, oh yeah, they had a fight and all this kind of stuff is falling out, and like Draken's on like death row or whatever, you're like, oh okay, what is like, how does
Mm,
that happen? Like, you want to know how that happens, and even then, like where I'm at in season 3, you still get little like little not foreshadowing bits, but like you kind of get little answers here and there of
okay.
what goes down, like in general. Like obviously, like no matter how much Takamichi goes back and changes something, there's always something that's like, oh shit, this goes down.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, like this is like I'm interested to see, like, especially from my point of view, like bang in the middle of season 3. I'm like, okay, I kind of see where this all ends up because I think season 3 is the last series as well. I think it is
From
anyway.
my research, there's potentially a season 4. Not sure yet though. Nothing. It doesn't seem like anything's been said, but I think that's also because it might actually be a spin-off rather than an actual like season 4 of Tokyo Revengers.
What it feels like right now, especially with the arc name, I'm not gonna say it just because of spoiler potential kind of thing. It feels
Oh, it's
very
called
final.
The End or something. Could you imagine? It's just like straight up The End. Like what?
Yeah. What? It's
I
ending.
never knew it was gonna be the end.
Yeah. Yeah. But it feels very final. But like you said, there's like 30 volumes of it.
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean, bear in mind, each episode has a lot of content in it. So it could I'd have to actually finish the anime to actually say whether or not we're gonna get like another season after it. But to me, it feels very final. Everything that's going down feels quite final.
I mean, the manga went for almost. I mean, like I think just under 5.5 years. March 1st,
Yeah,
2017 to November 16th, 2022. So like,
so like
yeah, I
3
think
seasons probably would fit it, I guess.
like I think that is just about under 5.5 years.
Hmm. Yeah, because isn't there 21 episodes in the first season as well?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, and I think season 2/3, I think they kind of like I think they're 12 episodes each, if that.
Okay.
Because I'm on episode 20. Yeah. So
Yeah, maybe it is
arguably, yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is. It's interesting. Maybe they did cut out some bits of it because I don't know. Maybe they're like, okay,
No.
yeah. But no, it's honestly, it's one of those series that keeps me going back, like watching it. I will say one of the hype killers for me is what you mentioned earlier. Is the fact that it was on Crunchyroll for the first season
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and so easy, and then switches to Disney Plus, and that immediately was like, "What? Okay, so like to see this thing, like it. This is a thing that we always have with it. Like when there's an anime series on Disney Plus, there's always a little bit more like, okay, did it really need to go here? Could it not have just been on Crunchyroll? Like it feels a little bit when you have a series, even if this goes for JoJo's as well. This is going for JoJo's because like when you have a series that is established on Crunchyroll, like just keep it on here, man. Like you don't need to do it like in a place where I don't feel it's going to other platforms. Bear in mind, yeah, these other platforms have taken it because they're
Mhm.
popular. I understand why they've taken it or claimed the rights. But man, just say keep that shit on Crunchyroll, man. It annoys me, man. It annoys me so much.
This is like a whole separate issue, really, and in itself could probably be a whole another discussion. We'll get into it a little bit. This is the thing, right? When you all first started like cutting the cord, like no more TV set top
Mhm.
box. I'm just
Mhm.
paying for the subscription service I want. Now everything's got a subscription service, and everything's scattered, and they're all fighting each other, right? Now we're getting to the point where it's becoming cyclical, and we're kind of getting
Mhm.
back to the point where like, why can everything not just be all in this one place, right? I pay for almost everything, and
Yeah.
then it's all in. Basically, we're coming back to the point where we're like, right, you know what? Maybe a set top box wasn't that bad, because if it
Mhm.
moved, at least it was all contained within the box, and I
Yeah.
had all the channels, and I paid one service or one fee, and it was whatever, like it. And this is probably just going to keep going back in cycles, so even if we do go
Mhm.
back to a set top box, we'll get to a point where it's just like, you know what, screw set top boxes, they're stupid, they're dumb, and then we'll go and split everything off again, and then we'll have to
It's the whole point of what like one streaming service or like a Netflix subscription, for example, especially back in the day when that was £5. You're like, oh, it's £5 and I can watch a bunch of shows. I've
yeah.
got iPlayer, I've got Channel 4. I don't need to pay for those. It's fine. But then when you get other things, like obviously Crunchyroll was its own unique thing. Like, that
Yep.
was specifically dedicated to anime. I'm not going to like. I was always paying for Netflix and Crunchyroll at the same time. That was never an issue. What is becoming an issue is the fact that there's so many streaming services and they're all clamoring and like fighting against each other now to get
For the same
these
content,
exclusive
basically.
things. Yeah, and arguably like what ends up happening is like, look, we have this content, we have this content. So if I wanted to just watch, I want to watch JoJo's. I want to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You mean to tell me, and I want to watch Tokyo Revengers. You have to fucking tell me that I have to have free streaming services to get an idea
Bruh,
of everything. Like, are you kidding
it's
me? Like,
becoming
it's
that picture of where to watch each season of Pokemon. Have you
yeah,
ever
it's
seen?
absolutely
You've seen that
absurd.
breakdown, right?
Yeah, like fucking, like it's like every like
Where
fucking
every season or every couple of seasons is on somewhere different. And if you want to watch all of the Pokemon anime in order, you need
ridiculous.
to be able to find it on like 16 different platforms or something.
Absurd. Yeah, it's like ridiculous how many platforms it's on now. And like each one will have a certain amount of more like some of them have more episodes than others. So
Yep.
it's like, oh yeah, you can watch Hunter x Hunter on Netflix and you can watch it on Crunchyroll. Well, okay. So what if I cancel my Crunchyroll subscription? And then it's like, oh yeah, we've got like we have episodes of One Piece. Yeah, we have episodes of One Piece. Oh, cool. How many episodes of One Piece do you have? Oh, we only have the Egghead arc. What do you mean you only have the Egghead arc? What about the
we
rest of it?
have
Like, what, you,
we
you
have
expect me
your
to start?
favorite
Oh,
Fishman Island.
yeah, I mean, I don't even think they do. That's the funniest thing about it. They've got like they Netflix is like, oh, we're getting One Piece, and meanwhile they haven't said shit about it since it looked ugly because Crunchyroll gets it earlier. Crunchyroll gets it like like a week earlier. So why the fuck would I go to Netflix if I was a One Piece fan and be like, yeah, I'm gonna watch my One Piece on Netflix? Apart from the live action, it's got nothing going for it. Like the only thing that it probably does in terms of Ichiro Oda's work is the Monsters 108 or whatever the frick it's called.
Oh
There's a
yeah, yeah,
spin-off
yeah.
one, which is one episode. That's on Netflix. We're getting into a whole other thing. Like you said, this is a whole other topic of discussion. My point about it is that I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Tokyo Revengers move platforms. Immediately hype killer. Like, especially since I think I was watching the dub of Tokyo Revengers the first time round.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool. Immediately I switch over to Disney Plus because I'm like, oh, okay, apparently it's on there. I have
Yeah.
access to it for a bit. I'll do that. And then it's like, okay, you don't have the dub. That's fine. Okay, I'll watch the sub of it. But like, the subs aren't integrated into the show itself. It's closed caption subs, and when
Oh
you're used to a certain subtitle
yeah,
format, when it's like I like the embedded subtitles. I like the thing where it's like, oh, it's
yeah.
showing
When
me
they've done it
like the
rather than
clear. Exactly. Like,
yeah,
don't get me
huh?
wrong, the
That's
subtitles
weird.
are fine. The subtitles are fine. I can get by, but it
Hmm.
looks jank as hell. Like Disney Plus's way of subtitling shows is jank. And it's like they spell a whole bunch of stuff weird sometimes, and it's like, "Oh, bro, really? Like, this is like it's not ideal, but like I watched the whole of season 2 dubbed, which I enjoyed, and then I was like, I need more content, so I'm gonna watch season 3 subbed. And
Hmm.
I'm like, oh god, it's these jank subtitles. I know why, like, because I did start season 3 about 2-3 weeks ago, maybe. And I got into, I was like, these subtitles have pissed me off, man. I can't be dealing with this. So I just paused it. I jumped off halfway through the episodes because the subtitles pissed me off so much. And then I watched episode 1 of season 1 recently.
Yeah.
A couple like yesterday, I don't know, whenever. And then I was like, I kind of want to get back into the series again. I kind of want to finish it because I'm so close now. So I've kind of forced myself to deal with these jank subtitles.
I'm not gonna lie, hearing you say
Yeah.
all of that really it's a hard case to argue for support the
Mhm.
official release. Still
Yeah.
do always support the
Mhm.
official release, but shit like that makes it hard. You know
Bruh,
what I
it's
mean? Like
like
shit like that is where you're like, "Ooh, I'm ready to become king of the pirates and go and sail them seven seas, brother, cuz
yeah.
ooh boy.
It's just
Ooh,
like
buddy."
they're not making it easy. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
they're
like
not.
you're putting me into a strong arm here, and it's like it's probably like don't get me wrong, it is probably a very minor detail to argue over. You know what I mean? Oh, the subtitles weird, so I don't want to watch it.
The subtitles I can see, but like the moving platforms, like
Hmm.
different
Yeah.
subscription services, like that one above all else is like again support official release, but I don't blame you if you didn't.
Yeah, it's just ag, man. It's ag about.
It
But
literally is. It's dumb. It's dumb.
let's backtrack a little bit. Let's get back into the more positive side of this whole show. So Tokyo Revengers, in the 7 episodes that you've seen, Nathan, how have you been enjoying it? Are you actually having
Dude,
fun?
I
Do you
like
like
it.
plan to continue? Or is it? Yeah.
I do actually want to watch more. I've just been busy. Like some stuff came up and kind of ruined my plan to watch the anime.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, nah, it's been good. I don't know how I feel about the modern day stuff because I'm
Mhm.
just kind of like modern day Takamichi's boring. He's boring.
Yeah.
He's been beaten down by life and he's dull. Like the best thing he's got going about him is the fact that he can go back in time. Like the more interesting character, and I use interesting very loosely
Mhm. Mhm.
in the future is Naoto, but that's only because he's like, oh, we shook hands and the handshake is the catalyst, and you changed my life. That's the only reason he's interesting. That's how boring modern day Takamichi is to me
Yeah.
right now in season
That's
one in
interesting,
7 episodes. Right,
yeah.
I could not care less. I literally, this man's is boring, but the past stuff is good.
The past stuff is where you're hooked into it. Like that's where it has your characters, like your
I
Mikeys, your
mean,
Drakens,
that's also
and
the
even
main part
flesh
of
it
the
out a bit.
story.
Yeah. But like obviously you got the mystery, that kind of thing. That's what's
Yeah.
really driving it. I like to compare Takamichi to that prosy. I feel like every time we do a episode like this, we refer back to a prosy D sketch at some point. And this particular one feels like, there's that sketch where it's like, oh, this character sucks.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with this? And it's like, no, wait, he gets
He
better.
gets better. He gets
And it's
better.
like,
I'm gonna pee and pull my pants.
yeah, it's like, you sure this guy gets better? Like, trust me, he gets better.
just
It's
give
like,
him another season.
yeah.
I'm still gonna pee and pull my pants.
Yeah, it's like Takamichi gives off those kind of vibes. He's kind
Oh
of
my
like,
god, he does. Modern day
yeah.
Takamichi literally is. I'm gonna pee and pull my pants, and it's like it gets better. Just let him go back in the past and be like, I don't know, middle schooler again. However old that is, like 13 or something.
Yeah. I wish I could tell you it gets better, but kind of like,
Oh my
yeah.
god. But yeah, no, I've really, really been enjoying it.
Mhm.
This is kind of right up my alley.
Yeah, I
Like,
did. It's one of those ones. Like I always did feel like it kind of would be. It's like it's hard to tell with sometimes because I do like when it comes down to delinquents and the fighting and stuff like that. I was like,
yeah,
Nathan
that's
will
like
vibe with that.
straight up me.
Yeah, I think it was like some of the other bits where I was like, is he gonna like vibe with time travel? Because like I'm never really sure if that's your kind of thing either. Like, because
I like the idea of time travel. I think it's the execution that is often the problem because sometimes it's just too convenient. Like if Tokyo Revengers was written as he goes back in time, he solves a thing, he comes back, and they're like, "You did it, we fixed it," I'd be like, "Right, I'm out," because that's dumb,
yeah.
right? But it's the fact that he goes back and he comes back, and they're like, "Cool, you fixed that part," but actually, no, we got more work to do.
So like you fix that part, which is great. However, because you fix that part,
Yeah.
this has now happened, and it's like, what? Why is that happening? It's like, yeah, it makes sense because it is like you said, the butterfly effect is always going to be. You change one thing in the past, and a whole bunch of other things change with it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's this version of like time travel I can get behind because, well, I mean, we'd never know. Personally, I subscribe to the theory that even if you went back in time and you mess with stuff, it would create a new timeline. So you would still go back to your timeline and you'd never experience the good or bad changes that come with it. But there would be a version of you in another timeline, in another universe that was then created
Yeah.
because of that choice. That's just me. But like, no, yeah, just in general, this is on paper, all the themes are like my kind of thing. Fighting,
Yeah.
delinquents, supernatural things. Like, I'm like, bruh, I should have jumped on this earlier. Honestly, I should have. It's cool. The only thing is, I'm like, I'm watching the dub because I want to have it on in the background whilst I do other stuff. So I'm sure I'm missing some key, perfect like Japanese delinquent yakuza gang style speech that I absolutely love. But I got video games for that. Doesn't mean I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't want to hear a bunch of fucking like middle schoolers walking around like, "Ura! Ah! Yanuka!"
I mean, it's not too far off, to be fair.
But that's what I'm saying. There's just key speech, man.
Going from the dub to the sub, like, because again, as I said, like I watched pretty much whole of season one dubbed, and I started watching. Well, no, I pretty much jumped on season 2 and finished season 2 with the dub version, and now I'm going into season 3 with the sub. It's not like in terms of voice acting, nothing really like, oh my god, this happens. Like it's pretty standard. I think I think both of them are actually solid. I don't think there's a problem with either the sub or dub of that. Not as I don't think there's as much like kind of thing. Like there's not there's not I think that there is still a bit. There might be a lot more in the early seasons where you get a lot more of those like brutish delinquents come through. But like when you get like more and more of those cool-headed ones like Mikey and Draken, where they're like kind of a bit more serious and a bit more like intimidating in like a cool, calm, collected way. You don't get that as much, but you still get the odd like hardback over kind of thing. Like you get that kind of
maybe just for this bit, the part I'm on, maybe I should swap because I'm like, that Mobius guy definitely would walk in and be talking like that. I'm thinking about, I'm like,
this one's probably the bit where you're gonna get a lot more of that. Like,
them motherfuckers, like, for sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'll get a lot more of that in season 1. I think like where I'm at right now, it's like kind of like it's in the midst of mind games and kind of like all that kind of stuff, like betrayals. It's so cool, all the mystery stuff. Like anyone that's gotten finished Tokyo Avengers knows what I'm on about. Nathan hasn't met a certain character yet who's like that becomes almost basically the main plot point of this. And when you get to it, Nathan, when you find out who this guy is, you'd be like, oh, is this? And then it's like this motherfucker who like this certain character I'm talking about is just there everywhere. Like he's like, oh, but he's quite sound at this point. It's like, no, he's a bastard, and you don't know why he's a bastard, and you realize why he's.
Oh my god, it's evil Takemichi.
I mean, there's obviously like timelines as well where Takemichi changes something.
Yeah,
and then he ends up as like a fucking bastard, and you're like, he's like, wait, what the fuck? That's me, because he's obviously done so much.
Bruh, that was a line I loved in I think it was a couple of episodes ago, maybe like episode 5 or something, where he comes back in time, and it's when he comes back and he's like about to sleep with that girl in the fucking room, and he runs away and he runs into Hinata, and she's like, you're different today. You're adult Takemichi today. And I was like, hang on a sec, what?
Yeah.
Hello? Yo, she's fuck, this girl is, she's just on this shit, man. But like, it's just little things like that I was like, okay, I see you. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Certain bits is like, oh, okay, interesting. Because obviously, regardless of like when Takemichi goes back and forth, he's still gonna be the old Takemichi.
Yeah.
In that timeline where he like goes and comes back and stuff like that. So it's like, it's cool to see that like, oh, just because his personality is from the future doesn't mean that his whole past personality has changed.
I do also like that there are moments of comedy as well. Like the first time after he purposefully goes back, and it's like, oh, the firework festival, let's go and look. And then he's standing there and he's thinking he's having this whole moment with Hinata, and he like grabs what he thinks is her hand and he looks down and Naoto's there like, hi. But because a handshake with Naoto is the catalyst, then he's like, what are you doing here? What? No. And then he's like, goes back to the future, and Naoto's like, are you back? Did it work? And he's like sitting there crying like, what were you doing there? Why? And then Naoto's just like he's not even phased, like he doesn't apologize or anything, and he's like, will you sort your shit, stop fucking around. All right, you're going to the past for work. And it's like, yeah, but it was your fault. Bruh, it was past you. And he's like, sort it out, mate, fucking pull your finger out, focus up, god damn it.
You do get those like cool moments like that, like those funny moments. Is good. Oh man, now I kind of like want to go back and rewatch the whole thing, but I want to definitely finish season 3 first, at least, before I start doing anything like that. But like also the opening, official Hige Dandism.
Yeah,
there you go.
There's another song that's been on our playlist for a while that I'm like, Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
Oh, the first time I heard it, I was like, I know this song. I've heard
yeah.
that before.
It kind of like imagine like hearing it now in context of what it is like, because in the first line of the song you hear like a gun clock as well.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, wait, what? And then it's obviously, yeah, that actually features into the show a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
And obviously the song being called Cry Baby as well.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All of these are always so funny because I feel like there's always a section like I feel like sometimes you pick these on purpose because you know at some point I'm gonna go, oh, I know that song. I heard this. I've been listening to this for years.
Nathan, I'm not gonna lie to you, mate. Any anime that I'll recommend you, there's the opening for it's
Yeah.
most likely
Yeah.
on the play. There's only a handful of like anime that I've watched that I haven't put the songs into the playlist, and that's because I
those
haven't
were
vibed
probably
with it.
all. Yeah, I was gonna say those
Yeah.
were probably also episodes that we did where we were both like, "God, that wasn't good, was it?" Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right, you know it. That's what it is. I will say that like none of the endings are that memorable for me. I
no,
don't think I've added any of them, but like the opening for season 2 and 3, because they use the same opening, just change the scenes.
yeah.
That is also official Hige Dandism. So
Okay,
there you
well
go,
then
a little
it's
bit.
probably another certified banger from the playlist that I'll
Yeah.
get to and be like, "Oh, I know that one. Yeah, cool."
I'm
Sick.
trying to remember how because obviously like second season like feels a little bit more recent than it. So I don't know how often you listen to the playlist still, but like it might be there. I don't know when I added it. Like, but, yeah.
I haven't listened to it for a little while, but like, honestly, I also listened to it like shuffled, so fuck knows. There's probably a huge chunk of that playlist I haven't actually heard just because shuffle
Yeah.
never like brings it up or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Shuffle and Spotify is a weird one like that.
But
Yeah.
I do love getting context for these songs that I'm just like, oh yeah, that was a really cool song that I've listened to probably for at least a year.
Yeah. But is there anything else you want to say about Tokyo Revengers at all? Like anything that you'd recommend from it? Anything?
I'd say just go and watch it or read it, whatever. Like it's deserved. I will say it is good. And I
agree,
also remember when it was like hyped, came out, and everyone was all on
Mhm.
that, like, oh, Tokyo Revengers. It is definitely worth giving a go. I mean,
100%.
I'm obviously not unrealistic enough to sit here and be like, it's everybody's cup of tea. Everyone's
Mhm.
gonna fucking love it.
Yeah.
Unrealistic, but please do go and give it a try. As stupid as they've made it, please support the official release. That's why I said if you don't enjoy the anime, maybe you'll enjoy the manga. That's probably
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I totally
uh,
intend to go and watch more of this.
I'm glad you liked it. That's one thing I was always like a bit like I feel like it would be your thing, but I was unsure. But I 100% agree with Nate. It's one of those things. At least give it a shot. I think the amount of depth that's in it is fantastic. Obviously, Nate, you'll get round to it eventually.
Yep.
I've said like all about the betrayal, the mystery, everything about it is so on point. And I'm looking forward to finishing the third season. If Nathan gets around to finishing it at some point, maybe we'll do another discussion on it. But
Chances are we won't.
we'll
I'll just end up talking to Pepe
yeah.
about it, like outside of recordings. But
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe there's another thing there. But I guess that brings us to a close. Let us know your thoughts on Tokyo Avengers, whether you read it, watched it on the multiple different platforms and so on. Let us know. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button for future Culture Boys videos. Check the links in our description. We have our podcast platforms there. And we will see you guys next time for another Cultured Boys episode. Bye bye.
bye.